have to start this solution evaluation. Okay, so just understand in what
Correct.
phase we are. Like we have been working on the project, and we are going to deliver the project. Okay, the after delivering the project,
Right.
what value we are going to give to the organization, that is what we are going to assess it now. For that, we need to understand, see this business analysis value spectrum. See, solution evaluation comes once we have delivered it. Here initially it starts with the strategy analysis, like the need and the solution scope will come there, and requirements analysis and design definition means requirements and designs. Here we have handled it. And then once the solution is given, we have to understand here the proof of concept or the prototype. And here the pilot, we see we give them a pilot so that they will start working with it, or we sometimes we call it as a beta as well. Okay, so pilot is a small part of it, beta is the possibly the entire version of it, but they'll be parallelly working in their own process plus this new process as well. Both they'll be doing it, and then it moves on to the operating. Right, so this is what we are going to discuss now. The development is done, or we have freezed on the solution, and now we have to understand, is that solution really worth it, and do we require this or not? This is what we have to understand it. For that, what we will be doing is that we'll measure the solution performance, and we analyze performance measures, and then we assess solution limitations, then we assess enterprise limitations, and then we recommend actions to increase the solution value. This is what we are trying to do in this solution evaluation. Okay, in this solution evaluation, these are the tasks which you're going to actually discuss on. Right now, here let us,
Yeah.
you got me, no? Like we have given the solution, and we are trying to understand, is this solution fit here or not. I'll tell you, I'll give you a simple example for you
Correct.
to get a clarity. Let me say you want to buy a new TV. Your old TV is, let me say, some plasma TV, and it has gone for a toss. Now you want to buy a new TV, and you bought one TV. Now, once you got the TV, you'll start analyzing. First of all, you'll see the TV worth of it, and then you'll buy it. But once you start using it, then there are so many problems will come into picture. Let me say they want the Android version, and you bought a normal TV, not a smart TV. Even though it's a smart TV, it is not supporting Android. Then the problem comes. Your phone will not connect there directly. So possibly, like we have to assess what is the desired what we say value, and what is the solution is having, what is the solution performance versus desired value. We have to start comparing it, and what risks are involved. Okay, let me say the other day I gave tab to my son, and thinking that he will be looking into some what we say educational videos. Later on, I saw him seeing movies, watching movies. Now it's like when you see it, the risks, we have to even assess the risk associated with this particular solution. Okay, so most of the times we do it for in one dimension, but it may actually take a different shape altogether as well. So we have to understand what risks are associated with this new solution. We have to assess that as well. Got it? So let us try to understand what
Yeah.
we are trying to do in the solution evaluation. Okay, so here we are trying to understand the solution performance, and we have to understand the performance measures, and we have to understand the limitations. So what limitations the solution has and the enterprise has to take up this particular solution. And next we have to go with the recommended actions to increase the solution value. That means we have to improve on the existing value. That is what we have to see it here. Okay, so this is what we are trying to see here, and thereby we have to assess the risks and understand whether we are in the latest trends or not, and what is the accuracy involved here, that way, and what are the performance variations. That is we'll try to what you want and what they give, what is the difference between what you want and what you got, that variations that you'll be trying to measure the performance measures you'll establish there. Okay, so let us try to deal with it now. Solution evaluation we are going to discuss. Out of the 6 knowledge areas, solution evaluation is the 6th knowledge area, the last knowledge area of it. Okay, and here it has 5 tasks. If you see here, we have 5 tasks. These 5 tasks, the outputs will be given as one output for one task. We got it here. Okay, for measured solution performance, it is the solution performance measures, you are getting it. For analyze the performance measures, you'll be getting that solution performance analysis, like how you are going to what metrics you are going to establish for you to measure it, to compare it. And then assess solution limitations, what are the solution limitations and what are the enterprise limitations, and what are the recommended actions you are going to do. All this will be described here. Okay, now let us take the first one, measure solution performance. Now measure solution performance means, here what we are trying to do is that we are trying to understand how this solution will perform, what measures it has, and we will validate the performance measures, and we collect that performance measures, like what exactly is that, we'll try to understand it. Okay, now it's as simple as this. Suppose, let me say uh, you take that for example, the smart TV only. Now smart TV may, we have so many variations available, out of which variation you have taken, and whether it is compatible to your smartphone or whether it is compatible to your PlayStation, and nowadays whether it is suitable for the latest channels, HD channels or not. Okay, and are you connecting to the like all these channels are there, like we have this Netflix and all that, is it, are you able to connect to it or not? Or sometimes we may need to do parallel things, is it possible or not? All this we'll be discussing there. So here uh, this is very much specific to a particular project, so we have to take one example and start understanding it, how we are going to make it up. Okay, so let us try to understand how we are going to measure a solution performance, how we are going to measure a solution performance. Here we are trying to understand it. For that, let us see, the purpose of it is to define the performance measures, the purpose of it to measure the performance measures and evaluate effectiveness of a solution in relation to the value of the solution brings. Okay, and here if you see it, we need to understand that we have to compare the old existing one to the new one, and this new one to the desired one. Like that we have to start comparing it and we have to understand it. Okay, and then let us see here, the performance may be assessed through the following KPIs, key performance indicators, project goals and objectives, and process performance targets, test for software application. These things can be considered here. Okay, now let us see, we measure solution performance may, we will take a implemented solution and the business objectives as inputs. Then the guidelines will be the change strategy, future state description, requirements validated, and solution scope we take as guidelines, and the output would be solution performance measures, and the output would be solution performance measures. Now if you look into this, like if you see, the business objectives is that generally with because of the business objectives only we are going to start this particular project. So that business objectives we have to first of all understand it, and the solution is now implemented, already it is given. Now you have to understand the solution, in which what form it is there, like what is the operating system, what is the prototype, or it is a beta version or pilot version. We have to understand it, and based on that we will take it forward. Okay, now hope you're aware what is the
So in
pilot.
business objective, you mentioned that.
Yeah, business objective means, actually let me say
Sorry.
you, let me take an example of you're buying a TV. Why you buy a TV is that, let me say you want to watch so and so programs or like that. Okay, your objective is there, then only you'll buy it. For the sake of buying a TV, you'll not buy it, because there is some purpose for it, you will be buying it, and as per it you will allocate some budget for it. In the same way, let me take our pathvista example. Now what is the business objectives for the pathvista? For pathvista, the automation of the timesheets, what is the objective is that, here we
Time
want
sheet.
to, reduce the tat time and get fund quickly, and we want to be more efficient.
Right.
Human errors, we have to minimize it, you have to minimize the human errors. So all this will be the business objectives in our
Correct.
case, right? And implemented solution, let me say I gave you,
Right.
now I gave you a pilot. Pilot means we'll give you a small functionality part of it, how it is functioning. Based on it, they will decide. Beta means you will be doing with,
Yeah. Yeah.
you're aware of the pilot and beta, right? Now I need not explain you about it, right?
Yeah.
So that we will
No.
be,
No. 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 Yeah, I am aware of
okay, fine. Now that will be taking into consideration.
it.
Okay. Now what we will try to do is that we will see the elements involved in okay, this measuring this solution performance mein what we try to do it. Okay, first of all we have to define this solution performance measures. Okay, we have to define it. Now defining it means actually through what metrics you are going to you want to measure it, you have to understand it. Okay, most of the times it will be from the business goals, objectives, okay, and business process will be the common source of measure. From there you'll pick it up. Let me say business objective is to minimize the tat time, increase the accuracy, like that it will be there. So from there we'll pick it up. Sometimes it can be even like we can take it from the industry standards as well. Sometimes we can even take it from the industry standards as well as some specifications. You can take for example, if you take a TV, then it becomes the resolution, which is the pixel resolutions, what it is actually coming up with, and the graphical card, how much it is going to support you, and the games, what you actually can play with it, and how these private channels can actually work on it, and how you can actually connect to your phone. All this will be like those will be the, like you can start as a coming up with a performance measures, you can start writing them. Okay, now coming to our pathways, the example, if you want to understand about it, performance measures, where it will be number one is ease of use. Now the recruiter, for him to actually enter the timesheet, he should be very easily able to select that client and then the JD, and then he should be able to just say okay, so and so JDs, I have JDs, and then he should select, he should be able to go with the resume parts of it, select the resumes and push it, that's it. So it should happen in such a way that it should be so easy, that is user friendliness can be one of the measures which you can take it. And second thing, the defining the reports, what reports he can actually see, the reports, and the quickness of the generating the reports. Now let me say, while you're uploading, it is taking 15-20 minutes for you to upload a resume, then there is no point there. So likewise we have to understand these measures. We have to first of all define on what areas you're going to measure it. Okay, you got me, you
Yeah.
got an idea like how we are going to measure it. Okay, now after measuring, after you
Yes.
defining these measures, next you what you have to do is that okay, next step is we have to validate this performance measures. Now validate means we have to ensure that the assessment of the solutions performed is useful. Now you validate on a particular parameter which is not useful, then there's no point there, right? Let me say in our pathways, the example only, if you validate it on let me say you have established one measure, that measure is on let me say you want to understand um, which is like not useful at all. Let me say you are just looking into the total number of fields that are that let me say the word count of that particular resume you are showing, or what we say you're displaying the word count of a resume. Now are we really worried about the word count of a resume? Right, you got me, no? If a resume is there, then
Yeah, I got it.
so that
Yeah.
is no point of measuring that word count there. We are least bothered about the word count. We are bothered about what is the
Right.
CTC, what is the current CTC, what is the future expected CTC, notice period. This will make sense for us in this particular area, not the number of words in the resume or number of characters in a resume. Like that, we can't get something and we say, yeah, we
Right.
have measured it. That is nowhere useful to us. You got me? So such things we should understand what is useful. Only
Correct.
that way how to do it. What is not useful, you can't get into those things. Got it clear? So validating performance measurements, whether okay, this is useful in decision making or not, we have to see. Now something like we can come up with reports like, let me say uh, a single JD, if it is performed by more people, more recruiters, is are we closing it or not? Or a single recruiter working on single JD, are we getting more closures or not? Like that, we can start comparing it. These metrics will definitely give us some insights about taking decisions, making decisions, right? So likewise, it is like with experience, we'll be going through it, and it will help us to take decisions. So this is where we will have to focus on validating the performance. Now the first one is you propose these are the these are the measures which we can actually take. Okay, this is how we can measure, you can take. But next step is that we have to validate whether it is useful to us or not. That is the second step what we have to do it. right? And the third one is you have to collect the performance measures.
Yeah.
Now this is what we have to do. Once it is established, then we have to start understand how these measures can be practically be implemented and how those really make sense to you. We have to understand it. Okay, there will be few challenges there. So those challenges would be like let me tell you a few times, like while you are uploading a resume, I'm sorry, the timesheet, when the recruiter is uploading the timesheet, he says that I did work on so and so JD for so and so client for so and so time, like he wants to upload it. Okay, now while uploading it, he missed one of the parameters. He missed the client, sometimes he missed the JD, sometimes he missed the resumes, sometimes he missed the time, like that he's missing it and he's uploading it, or sometimes he's uploading a wrong period. Let me say he worked for only 4 hours, but his timesheet is saying that he has worked for 8 hours, like that. He may input some wrong data. Then where you need to understand whether this will really work out, if at all, if they can put some wrong data there. So how to measure it? That is also should be the you're understanding it, right? Let me say this guy worked for only 1 hour,
Yeah, yeah.
but that guy uploaded timesheet for 2 hours. Then practically we need to understand whether when we start getting that data, is it practically valid, or can we make it or not, the samples of the data, are we taking the right samples or not, what volumes you're actually taking it up. Let me say out of 10 people, or 9 people are doing in the same malpractice they're doing, then there's no point implementing up this particular project. Out of 10 only one guy is doing like this, then we can look into a chance, like okay, this guy, only one guy is there, then the application is more accurate. Likewise, we have to understand how these measures will help us out. You got me clear on this? Okay. and
Yes. Yes.
and the guidelines, we see this, and coming to the output, what will be the output of it? Okay, the output is solution performance measures. Like you have to write on this particular measures, we are going to evaluate the performance of the solution would be measured on so and so KPIs. Like you have to write down all the KPIs here. You got me? This is how we are going to get it up. And the second one is, okay, it is analyze performance measures. It is analyze performance measures. So far what we did is that we just try to understand only how the solution is going to perform. Now we have to compare it with the desired value. We have to actually compare with the desired value. Now what is expected and what your solution is going to do, that is what we have to do it in analyze performance measure. Analyzing means the base of analyzing is comparisons only. If you say analyze means if we try to compare it, right? Now here we try to understand that for the given if a solution is given, what is the desired and what is actually, or what is the current solution performance. We will be comparing both it. For that already we have established one KPIs in the previous task. We can utilize those KPIs, those measures, and also we can, while comparing it, we get this variance. Okay, that variances as well, we will be seeing it. Now this is a comparison process. Previously we defined it, now we are going to compare with the desired value to the solution performance, that we are going to do it now. Okay, now here what it will be taking it as a potential value, that is what been we have been discussing about the potential value, and solution measures, that is what the previous outcome is. And the output is solution performance analysis. And the guidelines which we use is change strategy, future state description, risk analysis results, and solution scope. The previous guidelines only here as well, we will also take it. Now let us see the first one. In the first element here, what we're trying to see is solution performance versus desired value. That means what I've been trying to tell you is what we actually expecting, then what we have actually delivered, we try to compare it. That is what we will be defining it here. Okay, and then we will see the risk associated with it. Okay, with this new particular solution what you have given, what are the risks associated with it. And because we never know, initially we wouldn't have thought about it, but once we start working with it, then we'll realize that so and so thing is happening, so and so extra thing is happening. And then we will see the latest the trends, what is happening there. Did we select the right what was a sample for it, and the right size of the data to actually assess this particular trend. So we have to understand it from that perspective. Okay, It's like this is going to make you like present day is that you see if you want to buy a laptop or a TV, generally we buy the latest one, and after a year, or the smartphone, after a year you realize that you are outdated. So to be in the market and to actually make it up, we will consider those parameters as well. Okay. And the accuracy of what, because sometimes here you establish a measure and that is not fitting into, that is not exactly giving you the size of it. So the accuracy we have to understand about these measures. Okay. Accuracy means, I'll tell you, I'll give you a simple example. Suppose if you are measuring a straight line drawn in a book, and you are expressing it in kilometers, is it okay? Right, you got me,
No.
no? You're drawing a line in your notebook and you're
Yeah.
expressing that in kilometers. Then you will not
Hmm.
get that exact measure. You are not accurate in that, right? You got me? Suppose if you are
Right.
traveling a distance, kilometers is okay. If you are drawing a line in a page, then centimeters or millimeters will be okay for us. Like, we have to understand it, what exactly, how accurate our details is, right? And then the performance
Correct.
variations. Performance variations means like how much is expected, what is the deviation. Likewise, we will be understanding in the performance variations. Okay, got it? So this is how we are going to make it up here. We are now analyzing, we have analyzed the performance measures. We have analyzed the performance measures. For that, we have compared with the desired value to the what is the present solution is going to give us. Okay, and finally we have come up with what is the variations we got it. Okay, got it? And the output, what you can see, the output is the results of the analysis of the measures collected and recommendations to solve the performance gaps, leverage opportunities to improve value. Now all this we will be seeing it in the last task, that is recommend actions to increase solution value. These are the inputs which will be taking it here. Okay, now we have to see the limitations of the solution, and the next task would be you have to see the limitations of the enterprise as well. We have to, now we are dealing with the limitations of the solutions and the limitations of the enterprise. First we'll see the limitations of the solutions. Now if you want to understand the limitations of the solutions, first of all you need to understand the internal factors that will influence the solution value. Okay, we have to assess like what are the various components in your application and how each component communicate with each other, and what sort of value output they are going to give, and if you vary any of the internal factors, what will be the impact on the solution value. Here we have to understand it. Okay, and suppose if some problem has come where that particular problem may go in. Let me say, what is the root cause analysis, you need to understand it. Like a basic troubleshooting, you should be able to give to, we should be able to propose it, right? If suppose if you buy any product, it comes with a user manual, and in the user manual last may you'll find basic troubleshooting options. Suppose if your TV is not owning,
Right.
then what to do, like that. So for first of all we have to understand, and this is the like limitations what we have it, that we, because based on the solution limitations we will be writing it. Let me say so and so is not showing up, then you use so and so button, and finally you press reset button. If you press reset button, it goes to the factory settings, and once again it will come up with neatly with the first settings, like that. So likewise we need to understand what are the limitations of this solution. For that we will be seeing okay, so here we have the solution, and here we are going to see that solution performance analysis, both the comparisons analysis we will be taking it up. Okay, and you see the guidelines here, the change strategy, risk analysis results, and the solution scope. Those are the guidelines, and the output is the solution limitations. You'll be getting it. Now let us look into the elements of it. Number one, you have to identify internal solution components dependencies. Internally how many components are there and what are the dependencies among them, we need to identify it. And in our pathvista case study, if you can understand, there will be like basically timesheet entry would be there, and before that resume entry, JD entry, client entry. Like we have client is one component, client can be one component, and job description can be one component, resumes can be one component, and the recruiter will be one component, and mapping the JD to mapping resumes to the JD, that will be one component. Like that we can just define and see where, and there is a relationship between JD, this timesheets and let me say the invoices, timesheets and invoices. Likewise, we have to identify internally what actually happens, how these components are interlinked. We should be understanding it, and if you change one thing, what is the impact on the other things, we should also be understanding it. Okay, and then investigate solution problems. Okay, now here, if a problem has come, where the problem will come, troubleshooting, we have to understand where it can go wrong, and based on it we have to do so and so thing. Like let me say, if you take a stabilizer, any stabilizer you take, basic thing is that if something goes wrong, power is up, there will be a reset button there. If you click on that reset button, it automatically starts right from the beginning. Likewise, we have to understand from where it can go wrong and how to rectify it. We should be we should able to identify it. Okay, and then we have to see the impact assessment. We have to see the impact assessment. That means because of so and so problem, where it can what impact it is going to make it up, and this impact, like we have to understand those impacts there. Okay, now it is something like the main purpose of doing this entire exercise is to bring value to the solution, and because of one limitation, possibly it may not do it. Let me say, sometimes what actually happens is that uh, it will not give you time to, let me say, that the entry of a resume, it is taking the loading time of a resume is taking a hell lot of time. Let me say it is taking 10 minutes for each resume entry, then that is a problem. Okay, when you are attaching your resume, when the recruiter is attaching a resume to for a particular JD, that is taking, let me say, each resume is taking 10 minutes time. That's a problem there. So we have to, now if it is 10 minutes, then you cannot actually work on it. You have to search for it and then you have to do it. So in such cases the problem comes in. So we have to identify it. If that is the case, where we have to actually work on it, loading time should be reduced. Like that, we have to actually focus on it. Right, got it? So we have to
Yeah.
sometimes know few things cannot happen. Let me say your network is very slow, then how quick the solution may be, but your networking will have impact on it. Like that, we will be seeing that what are the limitations which we can be done here. And the outcome is, okay, it is a solution limitation, like till what extent you can use the solution, and what is not been where you cannot use it, you will easily understand it. Right, now actually in our basically this pathways the solution, if you understand, it's a timesheet management system. It is not recruiter management system. Recruiter management system is different from, that is a IT staffing. Whatever staffing solutions are different from this, because it has done in a different mode altogether. You got me? So you can't use this in some other
Yeah.
systems. For, you can't take it to give it to another recruitment firm and say you use it, because they can't use it. They follow a different process altogether. Okay, and now let us try to understand the enterprise limitations. Enterprise limitations means where this where you are going to give your solution. So we have to understand the cultural, what is the culture, the enterprise culture there, and how the stakeholders will take it, and what impact they're going to create, and what is the organizational structure we are required to handle it, and operational assessments we should have it. So these things we'll be discussing in enterprise limitations. Okay, and here if you see here, okay, we are going to take in SS enterprise limitations may, we are going to take that current state description and solution performance analysis, and the actual solution what we have taken it. Along with that, the business objectives, change strategy, future state description, risk analysis results, and solution scope will be taken as inputs, and the output is an enterprise limitations. We will be coming up with the output. Now let us see this okay elements. The first one is enterprise culture assessment. This is very very important, because we deal with people. Solutions, who will actually use them, who will give you the requirements, and who will use the solutions is, end of the day, it is individuals or the people who are working there, employees. And these people and the culture of the particular enterprise is also equally important for us. So we need to understand their beliefs, their values, okay, and how they are going to take it up, and when they are going to work on it, and on what areas they're mostly keen on it, and what is the focus on this particular application. So likewise, we need to actually understand that culture there. The enterprise culture, we need to understand it. Suppose if the culture, if you are not understanding the culture, later on you will land up with a failure, because the cultural differences definitely will play a vital role here. Okay.
How this relate to our case study with past vista?
Right, and you
Means
see now the company where
there
Path
we
Vista,
haven't received that color. Yeah.
Path Vista, where the company is there, it is there in Germany, right?
Yeah, it's Germany.
So
Yeah,
if we
it's
don't know the
right.
Germany culture, then we can't actually get into things, right? So you need to know in Germany how they
Right.
actually work, right? You have to know that. So
Correct.
Germany, how they are, like what holidays they are following, like what festivals they are, like how they are sentimental, and let me say, for small things they make a big issue. Then how to, it can be like a
Hmm.
few areas may how it happens, no, in few companies they don't care if you suffer or if you don't suffer, workplace may there is some problem, they don't even care for you. In few cases, like in few companies, utmost importance is given to your workplace, the facilities provided to you, the cafeteria, everything would be there. If you just raise a simple one small complaint on it, that definitely they'll address this with immediate effect. You need to understand what they give more importance to. Culture means what is that and how they actually work out. So if you take like US people, generally they start their day very early and close the day early, and they want to
Yeah.
spend time with their families in the maximum. First half they will be dedicating for work, and the next half maximum they will be dedicating for their family, like that they will do it. If you consider India, it is not the case. We'll start from right from the beginning, and we will toil till the right midnight as well. We will be working, we'll be parallelly working. If it is work from home, we do both. we we deal with the family members, we deal with the office people as well, right? So we need to understand all these
Yeah.
things, right? Sometimes work from home, actually sometimes what actually happens is you should be available 24 by 7. You'll not realize when you are
Correct.
sleeping, when you are available. So sometimes it
Hmm.
happens in that way. So we need to understand this, because on some occasions I've seen few instances where we are available 24 by 7. During the time we don't know when we are sleeping, when you, because they say there's an urgent support call. If they say support call, we have to be there in the call. And for us it will be midnight, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. For them it will be in the afternoon. Likewise there will be that differences would be there, but still we have to do it. And likewise we have to manage our work. Sometimes we work with multiple, with a big MNC. This MNC is present in let me say some 40-50 countries. And overallly what happens is that uh, all the branches will be working 24 by 7. Even the single branch works for only 8 hours or 6 hours, but overall when you see 24 hours they'll be working. In such case your availability is a must there. So in such cases we never know. So we need to understand those things, right? Culture assessment is a must. Okay. And then you have to understand your stakeholders impact,
Yeah.
like what is the impact on the functions, what we are going to do on the locations, and on the concerns, like what is the issues, risks, and overall concerns of stakeholders with the solutions. Like let me say, few people don't like you to come up with a solution, then they find problem with everything. They don't like the color of the screen, or they don't like the color of the font, they don't like the font size, like that they'll start complaining about few things. Now we need to understand what is their concern, and we need to just see where we can make it a feasible strike there. Okay. So likewise we will be looking into this enterprise limitations. May we have to look into the stakeholders impact, where that impact is that on these three areas we'll be seeing it up. Okay. And then we have to see the organization structure changes. This is very very important, because sometimes if the organization doesn't change itself, the structure doesn't change, whatever you do it goes waste. Because most of the times I've seen very old organizations, they've been run by like the managers, senior managers, and these managers they enjoy a lot of cushion there, and their EGO factor is a big factor there. If that EGO is not satisfied, you can't make anything there. You propose a big thing as well, they just turn it down just like that. So in such cases we have to do it in such a way that these people influence will not will not fall on this, so we'll make it. That's the very reason sometimes you see a special department is created. It's not integral to any one department or any one process like that. They create a new process to do a particular work because they don't want the influence of this existing people on that particular process. Hope you got me. Right, sometimes they create a
Yeah.
new process. They don't actually, if there is a chance, they would have actually kept a small pieces of it to different departments and they can do it, but they don't do it in that way. Instead what they do is that they create a new process or a new department and a new line of business sometimes for this particular things, because when these people, old people, they come up with their own ECBA factor, they don't want to change, then the problem comes, then you can't actually implement your goals. Slowly what they do is that if the new process is more efficient, slowly they retire the old process. Slowly they retire the old process, and before retiring they give them a chance. Either you come to this process, train yourself, get that learning of it, and train yourself and join this, take an exam and get into this process, or otherwise it is retired, you can go home. Likewise as well, they will give you the, in that way they will do the tactics. Hope you got me. In a few of the companies it happens in that way only. Let me say one of the core
Yeah.
process, you would have observed it, right? So these people were, they form a core team and they will not allow anybody to come inside it, and they form a very strong wall there. So what, and during the time what the company will take a decision is that they will announce one new department, strategy department they say, and then they announce a new process, right? And the new slowly works would be assigned to the new process, and the old process will not have any work, and finally they say this process have doesn't any work, we are going to actually cancel it off, retire it off,
Implement more.
right? And then in that case those people have to come to the new thing. Then these people are new to any process, then they have to compile with whatever abide by the new process rules and regulations. You got me, no? So in that way they make those changes. So all this comes into picture here. You got me? Clear on this?
Yeah.
Right, so we have to
Yes.
see this organization structure changes like that. And the next one is operational assessment. Operational assessment means here in our day-to-day operations, what is actually happening, and what is the infrastructure they have, and what sort of support you will be having in the operational day-to-day operations, you need to understand here. Based on it we have to take it forward. For us to understand it, we have to go through the company policies and the procedures, capabilities and the process, and the skills and the training needs, what is that, and human resources practices, risk tolerances, tools and technologies that support this particular solution. All this we have to see. Now let me say you designed your solution in office, and the Linux is being used in the organization, then you have to understand it well. So that's the very reason for we have to understand that in the assessing the understanding the current process, may you have to understand that particular point and then make it here. So here we have to see the operational challenges, what is happening here, and based on it we have to drive it. Got it? You got an awareness like the operational assessment as well, we have to understand it. Now you can, now let me say you cannot directly pitch in with SAP. Now SAP infrastructure will cost you minimum 10 crores. SAP infrastructure minimum it starts with 10 crores. Solution is starts with 4 crores. To implement SAP, you need that infrastructure. Infrastructure costs minimum 10 crores. Right? You got me? So minimum budget for SAP implementation
Yeah.
14 crores. Let me say
Okay.
I have a Kirana store and I want to implement SAP. I'm mad about SAP and I want SAP. Then your budget is 14 crores for it. Right.
Oh.
Now you see, like if you have a chain of department stores, let me say we have this we are seeing this DMart or more, or like that, we
Right.
have these people can afford to do it. 14, when you see the turnover of the entire chain, it would be like in a month they would be making like 1500 crores, 1600 crores. In that case 14, 15 crores is not a big problem for them, right? You got me? But whereas if you have a single
Yeah.
department store and you want SAP there, then that is a big problem there. So it's like what I'm trying to tell you is that we have to assess it from that areas, right? Got it? Okay.
Yeah.
And the fifth one which we have to see is this recommend actions to increase solution value. Okay, recommend actions to increase solution value, we have to see it. Okay, now here we have to, when the solution is given, we have to fine tune the solution in such a way that we get a maximum value out of it. Once a solution is given, we have to get maximum value out of it. For that, what we will be doing is that we have to understand what is the enterprise limitation, we have to understand what is the solution limitation, and based on these limitations and the solution given, we have to suggest them how you can perfectly use it, how you can perfectly use this solution to get the maximum benefit, this we are going to assess it. Okay, so we have to adjust the solution performance measures. First of all, you have to adjust it. Let me say, now even though you realize that it is not a good to go kind of thing, but you will ensure that for the time being you use it, or you use so and so parameter with so and so setting, it will be useful for you. Or let me say one of the stakeholder is finding very difficult for him to handle this application, then you'll say do this step, do this step, do this step, and the entire setting you'll give it, right? In that way you can give it up, and then you recommend, then you give recommendations of how to increase on the solution value. For that, one of the best recommendation is do nothing. Okay, you just give it and you say fine, we do nothing, that can be this way. Sometimes you require an organizational change, sometimes you may require an organizational change. Okay, and sometimes you may be reducing the complexity of the interfaces. Most of the times this will make the magic here, because if you have so many interfaces, for you to actually interact with the end user will feel it more complex. Therefore we can reduce it, and then we can eliminate on the redundancy, and then we can avoid the waste. Okay, and sometimes because of this particular new solution, we can identify new additional capabilities. That is also a good idea. There we can identify new additional capabilities. And finally, sometimes we may retire the existing solution. For retiring the existing solution, we have to see the ongoing cost versus initial cost and the opportunity cost, and sometimes we have to see the necessity and the sunk cost. And the sunk cost, we have to see it. Sunk cost means for a previous solution how much you have invested, and sometimes people will be more sentimental. I have invested like 4 crores in that, and now it is going now it becomes zero. No, I don't want that to become zero, so I will not take it forward. Like that, they may be
Mhm.
thinking, right? Let me say it is as simple as this. I'll tell you, you want to
Right.
shift to a new house. Okay, in the old house you've done all this
Mm.
proper what we say carpenter work, you did it all, shelves, almirahs, everything, you kept it and you designed it in such a way that it suits you, and you invested, let me say, some 70-80 lakhs only in the infrastructure of it, infra. Now interiors and infra only you have invested that much, 50-60 lakhs you invested it. Now you have to go to
Mhm.
a new house, then definitely in your heart, in your mind, you'll say, array yaar, I've invested so much of it and I built it only for me. Now how to leave it? All goes waste. If
Mhm.
a new tenant comes there, then they will make it waste, like they may damage it like that, or it all goes for a waste. Or if I sell it as well, I'll not get that cost. Sometimes it may come in that way. So such costs we call it as sunk costs. Such costs we call it as sunk costs. That means there is no other go. It has been
Okay.
it is going for waste. So likewise we will be thinking about it. So we have to go through this entire process and understand about it, and then we have to decide about it. Okay, so we have to give recommendations how to improve on the value of this solution, and these recommendations will give based on these parameters, and see that within the given context the stakeholders are getting maximum value and the client is getting the maximum benefit out of it. So this is what it says in this knowledge area solution evaluation. Okay, in solution evaluation we have these 5 tasks. One is measure solution performance, the second one is analyze performance measures, the third one is assess solution limitations, and the fourth one is assess enterprise limitations, and the fifth one is recommend actions to increase solution value. So this is what we have discussed so far, and I want you to apply this knowledge onto our path vista example case study. And
Yeah.
okay, and
Mhm.
tomorrow we may start. Tomorrow means next, I think next class we'll be having on Monday. Monday we will look into a different topic. Fine, got it? Clear on this? Okay. Any questions from your
Yes.
end on this
Yes.
particular topic?
No, not actually.